So I've always had a problem with queer movies where I feel like most LGBTQ movies are fucking sad. And you know what? I understand. Most queer movies are made by queer directors and they're trying to tell their truth, and if you live honestly as a queer person, it's filled with a lot of pain and strife. And so we tell stories about our struggle. But sometimes you just want to watch a movie and you want to feel good and not exhausted from the emotional trauma, right? And I just got out of watching Love, Simon, and I got exactly that. I got the queer movie that I've been wanting to see for the longest time. A mainstream queer romantic movie where it is handled so tastefully. It is shown in such a positive light. Yes, there's drama. Yes, there's sadness. Because what movie doesn't have that, right? But it doesn't manipulate the feelings of being queer to make you sad on purpose. This is just about the story. And that is what is so important about this film. And you know what? I never understood the concept of coming out. I never came out myself. Because for me, definitely, I was just a lot more casual about it. I was a lot more like, I don't care, like, it's my thing. Who the fuck needs to know? But Love, Simon actually, they kind of showed me why coming out is important, because I actually empathized with Simon's struggle a lot. You see, most queer films deal with coming out in the sense like, oh, it's this part of me I just discovered and I have to get it out, or I need acceptance or whatever. But that isn't the case with Simon. As the movie points out, he's a regular, normal kid, you know? He has parents that are extremely liberal and would be very accepting of his sexuality. He has friends that love him. In fact, he has no real reason not to come out. And so, why doesn't he? The big reason behind that is that he wants to hold on a little bit longer to who he is, to who he was. And as much as we say that we don't change when we come out, you know, we're not different because we're queer. We're not different because we're queer, but we are different when we come out. That's the thing. That's what I never realized. You change when you come out because afterwards, you are someone who is proud, who is comfortable, and never really has to look over their shoulder. You are that person who is proud to be gay, lesbian, bi, trans, gender fluid, ace, whatever it is. You know? And that's the importance of coming out. And I never realized that. And it's a slight change. But it's a change you have to go through, because coming out isn't just about accepting and telling people that you're queer. It's also an internal journey that you have to go through to accept yourself and transition into the next part of your life. Or else it will always be hovering over your head. That's the best part about coming out. And this movie, from the opening song to the last song, and the movie's main theme song, it was all done by my favorite band, Bleachers. Bleachers, if you ask anyone, it's my favorite band of all time. Their music makes me cry, it moves me, and the first song they play in the movie that Simon turns on is a Bleachers song. It's Roller Coaster. And then the last song they play in the movie is Wild Heart by Bleachers. And then the ending credits is a theme song they made specifically for Love, Simon. And so immediately it was already touching me on a personal level. And walking into this theater, it was just filled with, I would say, late teens to mid-20s youth in that theater. And it was filled with both guys and girls, all of which were all very clearly queer. Some guys came alone, but like, you know, gaydar, you can tell the guys were gay. Some girls came as couples. They were very obviously couples. They were very coupley, I suppose. And it was just filled with a lot of queer people. And if you had any doubts that any of them were queer, you had to have been in the theater. I mean, people along with me were audibly sobbing throughout the movie, and at certain points, like people were actually making noises of actual pain when something very, very terrible happens. And it's a movie that resonated and connected with us so much. At one point, literally, we all started clapping. It wasn't like a slow thing. Everyone just like instantaneously, without even thinking, just started clapping near the end of the movie. There's something that happens at the end of the movie. Well, I mean, this isn't a spoiler. The movie, you know, he has an anonymous pen pal. When they finally reveal who it is, that part, it's not even the end of the movie. Everyone just immediately started clapping because they were so happy for him. They were so exuberant with energy. And everyone was crying. Like I said, everyone was audibly crying. And I was just so embarrassed that I literally sat in the theater and did not leave until I was the last person, because I did not want people to see that I had cried and that my eyes were puffy. Even before filming this video, I gave it like a good 30 minutes for it to all cool down. And right afterwards, I went into the restroom and I saw like a bunch of guys that had just come out from the movie. You know, they were all wiping their eyes. Like they were also all very much clearly trying to cover up the fact that they were crying. And it's also the audience. It was the most diverse audience I've seen in a theater for film like this. First of all, like I said, everyone was in like their mid-20s. And there were Latino guys, there were white girls, there were white guys. I was the only Asian person. There were black men and women. There were Hispanic men and women. And I'm just like, I felt so invigorated. And especially when they all clapped for that moment. When they all clapped, when we all unanimously clapped during that movie, that was the first time I truly felt like not alone. Like knowing that everyone around me has a similar struggle, or we share some kind of similar story, and that we were all connecting with this one movie. This is why I became a fucking filmmaker, because everyone in that movie theater, we were all connecting. It was a single shared moment that we were all experiencing together. And that's the power of filmmaking. That is the power of art. That is why I became a filmmaker. It is why I champion queer characters in queer roles. And in the vein of coming out, you know, I never officially came out. You know, when people ask me about my sexuality, I just tell them. But I am pansexual. I get asked this a lot on the channel. And I don't care, you know. You know, guys, girls, for me, it doesn't really matter. But the most important thing that I've never told anyone, you know, I once was so distraught, I said it on a stream once to a very small group of people. And it was just something that I was hell-bent on just keeping a secret forever. You know, it's like my thing. I want to come out on my own terms. And you know what? This movie inspired me and made me feel so not alone. And it made me realize, or at least reminded me, why I'm a queer filmmaker, why I champion queer roles. And I just want to set the record straight that I am a trans filmmaker. More than gay and lesbian rights, I care more about trans rights. And I wish I could make more products with trans characters. Unfortunately, I respect the trans community too much to cast cisgender people in trans roles, and it's really hard to find trans actors, which is why I usually resort to casting female roles, lesbian roles. And I cast lesbian over gay roles because 2 years ago, you know, I realized that, I guess 3 years now, wow. 3 years ago, I realized that something that's been missing or was awry that was a part of me. I realized that there was a gender identity to me that was always awry. And so that was when I realized I was trans. And that is when I dove deeper and deeper and deeper into the community and to where I am now. And honestly, I've never admitted that publicly, and I'm putting it out there publicly because I want to I want to inspire other queer artists, and I want to reiterate why the fuck I do what I do, because I just found out, because they had a little bit before the movie played. This movie was directed by Greg Berlanti, and he is my fucking hero, and I didn't realize that he directed this movie. Greg Berlanti is the one who champions all the DC CW TV shows. Black Lightning, Arrow, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl. Greg Berlanti is in charge of all of them, and in every single property, there are one or multiple queer characters. And Greg Berlanti, I found him particularly inspiring because he took these properties that were mainly filled with straight actors, and he would slowly start seeping in queer characters until everyone was just like, oh, we're doing this? And it was just like queer characters galore. And he's taken the success of that to then, instead of making like a DC movie or whatever, he goes and makes Love, Simon. That's called giving back to the community. And that's what I want to fucking do. Greg Berlanti, you are my fucking hero. You are my fucking... I mean, I looked up to you just based on DC properties, but the fact that you made Love, Simon, it was a powerful movie. I'm so fucking thankful. And I want to do that someday, and I hope that I can tell a story like that someday. And I hope we can see more people of color on screen. People of color, queer characters. There's a need for that. The audience here today, like I said, it was a very diverse audience of both white, black, and Hispanic people. Honestly, like, of queer kids. And we're out there, man. And we have been waiting for movies like this. And recently with Black Panther, A Wrinkle in Time, I think this is a great time for representation. I think there is no better time than now to be proud and out with who you are. So, yeah. Anyways, go watch the movie. Go watch the movie. If you are on the fence, go do it. Whatever it takes, go watch the movie. If it doesn't come out for you for a while, I'm sorry. Wait. If you're in a situation where you just can't watch it right now, wait till it comes out on home video. It is worth it. It is worth the hype. This movie takes you on an emotional journey. It's the most powerful emotional journey I've ever been on. And if you are queer, you are gonna fucking love this movie, man. It doesn't matter that the characters are male gay characters. I mean, the lesbian couple next to me, they were like teenage girls, and they were sobbing their fucking eyes out. And they were like these two girlfriends, and they were just like consoling each other throughout the movie because they're crying so much. It was amazing. It was such a bonding experience between all these young queer youth, and it was wonderful. And I hope you guys can experience that too. Bye.